Hello everybody and welcome back to another Fallout 4 modding video. Today, we've got a very special mod to talk about. A new weapon mod, or at least a relatively new one that I have not been able to break down yet, and I really want to because this gun is particularly special, not only in its aesthetic, but also in many of the features that it adds into the game. The mod we're talking about today is known as the Assault LMG by Brainstorm Epilogue. This is a wonderful new machine gun for Fallout 4. Now, this thing comes complete with brand new models and textures, custom animations, and those animations are very special. Tons of customization over at the weapons workbench, and perfect integration into the game. And that integration is even customizable depending on what you want for your load order. I know how I like my game, but there's a lot of options we can go over today that might be perfect for your load order. Now for starters, let's talk about the gun itself. This thing is essentially an M249, but Falloutified. It's going to have some minor design changes to the base version of the weapon, but also some attachments that make it completely different. I like to think of this thing as a design for what maybe Fallout 4's assault rifle should have been. As some of you may or may not know, the assault rifle was initially supposed to be Fallout 4's machine gun option, until Fallout 4's assault rifle got cut last minute, and they ended up making the machine gun renamed to the assault rifle. So knowing that the assault rifle was supposed to be a machine gun, I think this is possibly a better machine gun that we could have gotten instead. Or at the very least, something we can have now that you can use as a replacer or just add into your game however you want. Like I said, this thing is heavily inspired by the M249, but it does have some small differences. Notably, it does have some really interesting features like wood furniture, options for different types of cooled barrels, but you can also have this thing customized to look pretty similar to a standard M249. Now, one of the things that makes this mod special is its integration. You can have this as a standalone weapon, which is typically how I like to run my mods. If you do that, then it will spawn as its own weapon known as the Assault LMG, and if you do it that way, it has a 50% chance to spawn anywhere that you might find the vanilla assault rifle, so that's going to be later in the game on heavier enemies. Additionally, there is a set spawn for this weapon if you want to make sure that you can find one. It does have a set spawn over at Gunner's Plaza in the recording room. You can find one there guaranteed. But if you'd like this weapon as not a standalone weapon, but instead as something that replaces the vanilla Fallout 4 assault rifle, you can actually have that. There is already a built-in file to download that makes it so that when you download this, it removes the vanilla assault rifle from the game entirely and replaces it with this one, complete with all of its new attachments and all of its custom animations, which I think is a really good idea. And this mod does come with compatibility in mind if you do decide to go that route. Now, since this thing does have custom animations, that typically would be a problem, say, if a super mutant wanted to spawn with something like the assault rifle. But Brainstorm Epilogue is absolutely amazing for this one. They not only animated all of the first-person animations and all of the third-person animations, they also made animations for super mutants, which to this point is pretty much unheard of for custom weapons. There's only been a couple of times that we've seen stuff like that, like I know Her actually did add custom animations for synths for one of their weapons, but this is completely different. It's a totally different rig. Super mutants never, I mean, not to my knowledge, have ever gotten a custom animation for a weapon mod. So seeing something like that in this mod is really cool. Most people are going to not really understand how important that is, but for modders and for people who've been playing this game for a long time, this is a big deal. So having custom animations for super mutants for this weapon is such a minor thing that you would probably never notice, but it's very cool for integration, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for other modders. Say if I wanted to make an LMG on these animations, I could have it spawn on super mutants as well, thus adding more variety to their leveled list pool, which typically we don't get to see a lot of. So I think that is just amazing. Brainstorm Epilogue is doing some really cool stuff. Now that definitely is one of the most important parts of this weapon, but there's a lot of details to check out, including its stats and animations and many of its other cool features. So let's go ahead and hop in game and start checking out some of those right now. And of course, as always, we will be starting off with the stats for this weapon, but before that, let's check out this model because this thing is absolutely amazing. It has some very cool homages to the original M249 design with some small tweaks that make this thing fit really well in Fallout. Most Fallout weapons are not one-to-one with their real-life counterparts. I can't really think of a single one that is perfectly matched. Even New Vegas has some small discrepancies, and so I think this is a really cool reimagining of this gun for this game. I think it's really cool. If I ever made an M249, it would probably end up something like this. Now this thing has a base damage of around 26 in full auto. It does use 5.56 rounds, has a fire rate of 127, again in automatic. a range of 161, an accuracy of 72, a weight of a whopping 20.2 pounds, but this is a pretty massive gun with a box mag and wood furniture, and of course a value of 249 caps. Now that's just in this configuration, but it is awfully funny that the M249 is 249 caps. Just a coincidence, I'm sure, but pretty dang funny. Now I have to say, I absolutely adore this gun. If I was going to run a belt-fed LMG in my game, I think this might be my new permanent slot. Now for me, I would use it standalone, but again, a lot of you out there may want to use this as a replacer, and that honestly is completely understandable. You can easily download an R91 or a service rifle to be the new standard assault rifle for your game, as this becomes the new machine gun, and I think that's really, really cool. But one more important feature we need to talk about is, of course, the custom animations, of which there are actually multiple. I want to start off with the most interesting one, of course, which is going to be the belt-fed animation for this guy, so let's go ahead and give this thing a mag dump. Now, we could talk about accuracy and try to hit each one of these targets, which would be pretty easy, but that's not really how you're going to use an LMG, is it? There we go. Really easy to spray and pray with this thing. It is really fun, especially if you throw on like a 200-round box mag. You don't really have to worry about accuracy. As long as you have plentiful 5.56, which in this game is not too hard to come by, it's a pretty good option. Turns out on accident, I also completely obliterated those sandbags back there. Whoops. But there is actually one other animation for this gun, a different reload altogether, which is going to be a standard magazine type reload, which is something the M249 can do in real life as well. And it's something that I think makes this a really good fit as an assault rifle replacer for your game. It has the regular old style box mags, but it also has the big belt-fed magazine, so it's really, really versatile and adds a lot more customization than the regular one has. So let's go ahead and check out this animation set as well. Very nice. Very simple, but very nice. It's a bit of a specific animation, but it works great for this weapon. Not something I would see being used a lot for other modded weapons, but it doesn't really need to be. This and the belt-fed is already good enough and a great addition to this mod. Now then, as always, let's talk about the attachments over at the weapons workbench, starting off with, of course, the receiver section. We've got automatic armor piercing, a rapid automatic, a hardened automatic, and a powerful automatic. Not too many options, but you don't really want to use this thing in semi-auto anyways. This is pretty much all you really need for a full auto setup, so that's not too bad. For barrels, we have the option for the short standard barrel, the long standard barrel, the air-cooled barrel, which adds a nice big, almost Lewis gun style barrel, and then a water-cooled barrel, which is kind of similar, except that it is water-cooled and has some really cool tubing on the side here with a big contraption there with a fan. This looks super Fallout-y, and I love it. This is really cool. When I saw this being designed way back when Brainstorm Epilogue was still modeling this, I thought this was a bit goofy, but now that I see it in game, this thing is fantastic. It looks super cool, and it just makes sense for Fallout. Then for the stocks, we have the option for the full stock, a light stock collapsed, and a light stock expanded, a tactical stock collapsed, and a tactical stock expanded, which is a pretty interesting juxtaposition with a very retro style of an M249 combined with the sort of tactical collapsible stock. It is a pretty weird look, but it is something that you can do with this mod, and it's not totally unheard of. We've seen stuff like this in Fallout New Vegas, so it's not completely absurd. For magazines, we have the standard magazine, which is going to be that tiny little box mag there. We've got the 100-round box magazine and a 200-round box magazine for belt-fed options. Then we also have quick eject versions of each of these. They don't change the models, but they do make you reload faster. That being said, it's going to have some pretty heavy gun nut requirements. Then for sights, we have the standard iron sights. We have options for a few reflex sights, which are not going to change the models, but it will change out the reticles for a circle, cross, and dot. We have a short scope, which is an ACOG scope, as well as a medium scope, which is the same ACOG scope, but it's going to change the zoom level. We also have a night vision option from the J. Cruise models, and then also a recon scope as your last option here. Then for muzzles, we have the option for no muzzle, a compensator, a muzzle brake, and a suppressor. Now the compensator is custom, but the muzzle brake and suppressor are not. These are going to be vanilla options. I kind of do wish that I had seen custom stuff here, but everything else in this mod is so great that it's something I can definitely look past. For the carry handle, we have the option for the carry handle or for none. And that carry handle will change depending on what furniture you put on. So this is the wooden carry handle, but there are other options as well. For the front sight, we have the option for no front sight, the standard front sight, and an advanced front sight. The standard front sight is actually a funky little anti-air sight, and the advanced front sight is a pretty standard pin. For ammo, we have the option for standard ammo, high pressure for more damage, pre-war, full metal jacket, fine-tuned, and depleted uranium. All of these are just basic damage upgrades on top of the receivers. We have the option to throw on a flashlight if you're into that kind of thing, which will be strapped to the front there. It's just a flashlight or no flashlight. And then finally, we have the option to change from wood furniture to black polymer, which, like I said, will not only change the textures, but also the grip up top. That's actually a grip that I made, funny enough. So that's neat. So yeah, I think that's everything in the Assault LMG mod. I think that is just about every detail you need to know when it comes to deciding if you want to use this mod or not. Again, there's a lot of options, not only inside the mod itself, but also how you want to use this mod, whether it's standalone or a replacer. You can also have this, theoretically, if you were using a playable Super Mutant mod, or maybe you just wanted to have a Super Mutant companion who has a big LMG. Thanks to this mod, you can have that now. This is a really, really cool mod. Brainstorm Epilogue does awesome stuff, especially on the animation side of things, and this mod is no different. So if you want to try it out, I highly recommend it. It'll be linked down in the description below. While you're down there, there's a couple other things to check out. You could consider checking out my Patreon if you enjoy the videos I make here on YouTube, or the mods that I'm making all the time on the Nexus. I just released a mod a couple days ago, and it's a pretty cool one. Patreon donations, of course, are completely optional, though nothing you need to feel pressure to do, just an option there for people who want to do that kind of thing. As always, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, consider dropping a like. It helps out a whole bunch. And with that, I will be seeing you all in the next one. Peace!